Listen to this underwater. It's hilarious. Just listen to it. Listen to this. I swear it's much funnier in my head than I make it out to be. Anyway, hello there everybody, and welcome back to more Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. So, last time, we defeated Volvagia at the Fire Temple, restoring peace to the Gorons at Goron City. And we got some few more items along the way, some few more quest stuff out of the way, now that we have our brand new Megaton Hammer at our side. But today is an entirely different day. We are going to be tackling what many consider to be possibly the worst temple in anything, the Water Temple. And yeah, I am not gonna lie when I say this is probably like my least favorite part about the game too. But I'm gonna be enthusiastic about it because, well, it's a game that I really like. But yeah. Anyway, hello Blue Tactile. Hello. At least one positive I can say about the Water Temple is that it looks nice, I guess. I mean, it's all intricate and cool and whatnot. But that's the thing, it's all water. But I'm gonna get back to that when we get to it. So, y'all know how much the Water Temple confuses you, but we'll get to that when we get to that. But for now, all we have to worry about is that, well, we have to pull this thing right here, right now. Technically, we could do this at any given point during the temple, but you're gonna have to push this block, sometime or other, because that block is going to be very, very important for what's ahead later on. So anyway, this is the Water Temple. This is a very, very confusing temple. It's got 3 floors. It has all sorts of water stuff to deal with. It has many different rooms intersect, all combined into this central hub area of the temple, as it were. All that stuff. But right here, we got new enemies here. These are spikes. Aim for it, when it retracts, it spikes. So, basically put, the only weapon that we can use underwater is the hookshot. This is in Twilight Princess where, you know, we could use various other different items underwater, like the hookshot. Not just a hookshot, but, you know, also water bombs, your sword, all that stuff. This is Ocarina of Time, where you can only use the hookshot underwater. But over here... Hello? Oh, you, if I'm right. Link? You're Link, aren't you? It's me, your fiancé, Ruto. When did you ever say that ever? Ruto. The Princess of the Zoras. Yeah, I know, and Link's all surprised. I never forgot the vows that we made to each other 7 years ago. You forget that Link doesn't talk? So, no. You're a terrible man for having kept me waiting for all these 7 years. No, sir, I have been trapped in a freaking Chamber of Sage. I have a valid excuse. I was out saving the world and junk, but now it's not the time to talk about love. I'm sure you've already seen it. Zora's domain, totally frozen. A young man named Sheik saved me from under the ice. But my father and the other Zoras have not yet. I want to save them all. I want to save Zora's domain. You have to help me. This is a request from me, the woman who is going to be your wife. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're gonna be my wife. Yeah, sure. Link, you have to help me destroy the evil monster in the temple, okay? Alright. Jeez. I was imagining her, like, being all crazy and stuff. I mean, I'm pretty sure she does have a valid reason. I mean, her people are entirely frozen. So I can probably imagine that she's panicking and all that stuff. So anyway, what she's saying right here is basically your main gimmick of the Water Temple right here. So inside the temple, there are 3 places where you can change the water level. And that's the name of the game of the Water Temple. Changing the water level constantly so that you can progress further and further on into the temple. So, yeah, I'll get into more of the meat and potatoes of that as we go along here. In fact, we're actually going to get into the meat and potatoes of that actually right here. So we're just assuming that, you know, Princess Zora just sort of just disappears out onto the abyss of the Water Temple, presumably doing other stuff like lay around eating potato chips. But right here is the place where we can change the water level. And you have to use Zelda's Lullaby. Zelda's Lullaby in order to change the water level like this. So changing it from this spot will cause the water level to rise to its lowest possible level. Now we could technically use arrows, but I'm too lazy for that. Plus we got double magic at this point, so might as well use Din's fire, actually, to do this. Besides, it's much faster anyway, because, well, I don't have precise aiming like the 3DS version does. So, yeah, that's the thing. And right here, I have a bone to pick with these enemies right here. Not because they're hard, but because of the name. Shellblade. Its internal muscle is its weak point. So, I have a bone to pick with this enemy, alright? So, if you ever watched my Pokemon Gen 5 Let's Play, Pokemon Black, you would know that I have a bone to pick with certain translations of names when the game was localized in America. Razor Shell, the attack Razor Shell is called Shellblade in the Japanese version. Spoken in English, I might add. And yet it was changed to Razor Shell because reasons. Well, back in 1998, Nintendo apparently thought the name was alright, so they did do Shellblade for the enemy name in this one. So why the hell? So why the hell was the name like suddenly like illegal? I don't know. I don't know, man. I just don't know. Like, honest to God, I have no idea what is up with, you know, Gen 5 and it's. That's probably my biggest issue with Gen 5, honestly. Like, I know I like to rag on it for that, but Jesus Christ. It's so apparent to me. It bothers me and only me, I swear to God. But anyway, back to the water temple. Basically put, this is the other thing that annoys people a lot. Constantly pausing the game to go to the equipment subscreen and changing your boots to the iron boots in this sort of case. Well, I might as well talk about this now. If you're playing the 3DS version, good. The water temple is actually more validated, or rather, more bearable in the 3DS version, because not only are there spots marked as to, you know, various landmarks and all that junk. I mean, I know there's landmarks on the 3D on the regular version, like the candle room is where, you know, you meet Ruto for the first time, and the room without candles is probably this room in tow that we're going through right now. But honestly, the spots that they use to landmark on the 3DS are actually pretty good. Like, honestly, it makes it a little bit easier to tell where you are and where you might go and stuff. Plus the whole fact that they changed the iron boots to an actual item rather than equipment on the 3DS, it's actually pretty convenient because now you can actually use X, Y, or one of the 4 touchscreen buttons to switch on the fly, and bam, you're done. So yeah, switching between the iron boots is not really so much so time consuming on the 3DS, but if you're playing on the N64, you gotta pause the game. You gotta like frickin' pause the game like all the time for about a few seconds to change up your equipment. But yeah. And honestly, that's kind of like the annoying thing about this temple, just really, or rather the tedious thing about this temple is that, well, the whole pausing to like change up the iron, just to change up equipment boots is kind of tedious, and it gets kind of annoying afterwards. Well, particularly if this is your first time playing through. Because, you know, you're going to have to constantly switch back and forth between the iron boots, like, all the time. Like, honest to God, like, right here and right now. And you're going to have to explore all of this. Like, literally all of this. Before you move on and go change the water level. Honestly. Because that's the whole thing to the water temple. Just explore everything before you change the water level. Basic and to the point. But there's actually another thing that's kind of annoying about the water temple, but I won't get into that until later on. Honestly, I didn't think I would make it. Honestly, didn't think I would make it, but okay. Since you know, I just sort of just floated down the water. Or floated down to the... Or jumped softly, I don't know. That's the main point, I jumped softly. Anyway, this room. I do think you can't... No, you can't. So once again, you're gonna have to change up boots. Changing up boots is a big thing in this temple. Honest to God, it is. And just... Yeah. Just, yeah. I'm not really gonna pause that any further because I have to actually talk about the game. So basically, time limit. Hello, time limits are a thing. I keep forgetting this. Alright. Just change up. There we go. There we go. Now, reason why you want to come here is because small key. Yep, I just spoiled the treasure, but I don't care. It's a small key. I just want to get through this temple as quickly as possible. Remember, I practiced this. I should know this. So forget the shell blades. You don't even need to beat them up. You can just ignore them as you will. Sure, they do yield arrows, but it's not really important. You'll get a lot of arrows anyway. But whatever the case, gotta move onward here. And fortunately, there's a hookshot target that you can just snap across there. And bada bing, you are basically there. You're off to the races. You're inward and outward and skyward and all that junk. But now I know for a fact that you have to hookshot all the way back up here. Because the game thought it would be an amazing idea to do that. Yep. Amazing idea. Yup. Alright, so I believe this room, is the one that we can't do anything in yet. I mean, I practiced, but it's nothing. Yeah, it's this one. Yeah, I had to, like, check for myself because I wasn't really too sure. Alright, so now that we explored all of this, you have to find out that this room is the only one that we haven't gone through yet, so we'll save that room for a little bit. But for now, let's go into this room right here. Now again, this room is going to be important if you want to change the water level to the middle stages. And let's go here. And continue to use Zora's Lullaby. Or Zora's... I keep calling it Zora's Lullaby. What the hell? Okay. Okay. I don't mean to go off on another rant right here. I swear to God I don't. But, okay. This room kind of pisses me off for like a couple of reasons. For a few reasons, like 10,587 reasons, but right here, as a kid, I did not even know this room even existed. Like, I swear to God, I did not know this room even existed. Okay, so I have a bit of a funny story when it comes to this, and part of the reason why I don't like this temple so much. Well, basically put, I had a really frustrating time with this temple as a kid. Like, I spent like literal hours trying to find this one room because I was missing one key to get to the mini boss of this dungeon. Well, roughly like hours into my expedition, I had the strategy guide and everything. I had all sorts of strategy guides prepared, or actually just the one strategy guide, but the one strategy guide I just sort of skimmed over because I was sort of an impatient kid. I was sort of an impatient kid when it came to this sort of stuff. And this is not the right way. The other direction is the right way. I did this in practice too, what the hell? But just the fact that I found this room later on and I didn't find it initially, I got so mad just trying to find this one room because this contains a small key that is very important that you need. I got so frustrated with this temple that I, no joke, resetted my save file just to have another shot at it. Like, no joke. I deleted my save file I deleted the file that I was playing on, like, the first time playing through. And it was my first time. I was a kid in 1999 or 1998 when this game came out. And, yeah, I just restarted my file over. Because I got so mad at trying to find this one room in this dungeon. Just this room kind of pisses me off for that reason. I mean, sure, it's hilarious in hindsight now that I didn't find this one room. But Jesus Christ, dude, it was so annoying to find this room. Thankfully, the 3DS version kind of amends that because, well, when you raise the water level up to the middle, the camera sort of pans down to the area where you can enter that one room with all the spikes and the shell blades, too, so it's helpful in that regard, but it doesn't change the pain. It doesn't ease the pain I felt. It never does. Nothing ever eases the pain of this temple. Nothing. So yeah, that's my hilarious life story about the water temple. Anyway, for this room, basically what you need to do is, well, what you want to do is you can press the switch and that will close off this water thing right here. Or you can be like me and just speed run this way through. You can roll into this water thingy right here. And if you're quick enough on the A button triggers, you can just speed through the room like that. You speed through the water like that, and you'll automatically get the compass. Yeah, speedrunning tactics are for the win. Like, I didn't even know this existed until I cross-referenced this for my preparation with Nintendo Capri Sun's LP of this. Or rather, first LP of this. Like, honest to God, I didn't think this was possible, but I actually did it. I'm actually not sure if I did this in my original Let's Play or not, but I think I did. I think I did, but I'm not entirely too sure on that. Anywho, what I'm doing right now is, while the water level is at the middle level, I'm going back to the room where we met Ruto in, so that we can explore this crack in the wall. And of course, you know what that means. You have to bomb the wall. Bomb the wall until it explodes. So that we can get this thing right here. Small key. Small keys. By the way, we'll need 3 of them in order to proceed further into the temple. Or at least to the mini-boss area. Always keep a good bottle of water, or at least a good cup of water to keep your fuel up, I guess. But there's actually one other thing that I forgot to do, and the one thing that we will do in a little bit will concern, like, us changing the water level back to normal. And by the way, about this, we can't do anything about that yet, so just keep in mind for that room for later on. Anyway, we use one of the small keys to go here. And we can press the switch to go up here. And we can raise the water. Now, I think you want to prepare your spin attack because there's a blue Tektite right there. And then you can just ignore that heart entirely. And we can proceed to change the water flow back to normal, or at least the water level back to normal. Okay. So, long pauses and commentary aside, because I have nothing to say, I'm gonna meet you guys back over to, well, the place where we can change the water flow back, or the water level back to the bottom. One thing that I actually forgot to mention is that the water temple music is actually pretty good, I'm not gonna lie. But anyway, I actually forgot something here. I actually forgot this in practice too, but there's a room you can enter in the area where you can change the water level to the bottom. And by killing all these spikes, you can unlock a sort of treasure chest. And what's in the treasure chest, you may ask? Is it money? Is it gold? Is it rupees? Is it anything other than, you know, what the obvious thing should be? That you obviously expect at this point? Yes, it is! The dungeon map. So, with that being said, we can actually proceed on further into the temple. And actually, before I forget, actually, there's actually one other thing that can actually be incredibly helpful to you in this sort of temple, as it were. Using Ferrari's Wind is a very valid tactic in this temple, because with that you can easily access the beginning parts of the entrance to the temple really easily, if you so choose to use it like that. So I'm actually gonna create a warp point right here, and let's do this. Whoa! I have the power of science. Okay, and it dropped me off over there, of course. So I'm gonna dispel this, and I'm actually gonna go outside. Now I can actually proper cast this thing. By the way, there's a hookshot target right there. Just in case you're curious, you know. And with that, we are actually done here. We made it through, well, at least a third of the temple, I would have to say. Because, well, assuming every one of these videos is going to be like 3 videos per temple at this point, it's basically a point where like a third of the way through the water temple at this point. So we're going to stop here. Next time on Ocarina of Time, we are going to continue on through the water temple. See you guys on the next time. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.